The word democracy brings to mind fairness, transparency, and the power of the people. But what happens when that system is quietly undermined from within? What if elected officials, the very people entrusted to uphold the law, are accused of breaking it in order to gain power? Today, we're diving into a story out of Texas that is raising eyebrows across the nation. 15 people, including judges, former mayors, city council members, and local leaders, are now facing charges in what is being described as a massive vote harvesting scandal. Yet, despite the seriousness of these allegations, you probably haven't heard much about it. Why? That's exactly what we're here to unpack. Stay with us, because this story is not just about one county in Texas. It touches on bigger questions about election integrity, race, politics, and the future of voting in America. Frio County, Texas. But beneath that surface lies controversy. In 2022, an election for county judge, essentially the top administrative official, set the stage for what has now become a high-profile legal battle. The Democratic primary pitted Mary Moore, a black candidate, against Rochelle Camacho, who is Hispanic. According to reports, Camacho's camp resorted to questionable tactics, including spreading racially charged rumors, suggesting that Moore, if elected, would somehow harm the Hispanic community or even shut down beloved taco trucks. Moore pushed back strongly, dismissing the claims as lies designed to smear her reputation. On election night, Camacho won the runoff, but just barely. Moore lost by only 72 votes. And here's the kicker. All 72 of those votes came from absentee ballots. That razor-thin margin and the suspicious pattern sparked Moore to dig deeper. Mary Moore and her team started investigating. They noticed that many of the absentee ballots came from a local nursing home. Video evidence allegedly showed Camacho and others handling absentee ballot envelopes. This raised the issue of vote harvesting, a practice where individuals collect and submit completed absentee ballots on behalf of voters. Now, in Texas, vote harvesting is not entirely illegal, but there are clear boundaries. One major red line: you cannot pay someone to collect ballots. That, under Texas law, is a felony. The investigation pointed to one central figure: Cheryl Denise Castillo. Before her death in 2024, Castillo reportedly admitted she was paid by candidates through Cash App, sometimes not even her own account, but through a relative's. Nursing home residents claimed she not only collected their ballots, but also influenced how they filled them out. Police soon acted. Over several months, 15 people, a mix of elected officials, former leaders, and community figures, were indicted. Phone records, witness statements, and even payment receipts appeared to support the allegations. It's rare to see such a broad sweep of local officials accused of undermining elections. And yet, despite the gravity, the case has flown largely under the national radar. Now comes the obvious question: why isn't this front-page news everywhere? Critics argue that because the defendants are Democrats, the scandal hasn't received the same level of coverage that similar cases involving Republicans might get. Others counter that local election scandals often stay local, unless they tie directly into national politics. But here's the reality. In an era where debates about election integrity dominate national headlines, a case like this deserves more attention. It's not about which party is involved. It's about whether the democratic process itself is being corrupted. But wait, the legal story gets even more complicated. The suspects are being charged under Texas's SB 1 law, which specifically bans paid vote harvesting. But in 2024, a federal judge ruled that parts of SB 1 were unconstitutional, calling them vague and possibly in violation of free speech rights. For now, that ruling is under appeal, which means the law is technically still enforceable. So here's the twist. If the appeals court eventually strikes down SB 1, the charges against these defendants may collapse. Regardless of the evidence, this legal limbo adds another layer of uncertainty. Meanwhile, supporters of the accused officials claim this is all politically motivated. The League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, a major Hispanic civil rights organization, has come to their defense, calling the prosecutions a persecution, not a prosecution. They argue these arrests are less about justice and more about intimidation, even voter suppression. They also point out that in today's political climate, accusations alone can destroy reputations, careers, and lives long before a verdict is ever reached. So, what's really going on here? Is this a clear case of fraud, or is it a politically charged overreach? The answer may depend on which side of the political aisle you're on. This Texas scandal isn't happening in isolation. Similar stories have emerged across the country. Take New York, for example. In a Republican primary, 6 campaign staffers were charged with submitting fraudulent absentee ballot applications. In that case, ballots were outright stolen and filled in by staff. Different states, different parties. Same issue. Absentee ballots and mail-in voting are emerging as flashpoints for fraud and manipulation. And here lies the broader debate. Are absentee ballots secure? Advocates say they expand access to voting, especially for the elderly, disabled, and those living abroad. Critics argue they are ripe for abuse, especially in close races where a handful of votes can flip the result. If we zoom out, this issue isn't just American. Around the world, election integrity is under pressure. From ballot stuffing in parts of Africa to digital manipulation in Eastern Europe, and even questions of foreign interference in Western democracies. The struggle to maintain free and fair elections is global. For the U.S., which positions itself as a global champion of democracy, these local scandals matter. They erode confidence, fuel division, and give adversaries ammunition to question America's credibility. So, what happens now? The Texas case will continue winding through the courts. Evidence will be tested. The constitutionality of SB 1 will be decided, and the defendants will either face convictions or see their charges thrown out. But the larger question remains, how can America ensure that elections are both accessible and secure? Can the system balance the convenience of mail-in ballots with the safeguards needed to prevent abuse? Until those questions are answered, stories like the one in Frio County will continue to shake public trust. At the end of the day, democracy depends on trust. When voters believe the system is rigged, or when fraud goes unpunished, that trust crumbles. And once it's gone, it's hard to get back. So, what do you think? Is this Texas case proof that mail-in ballots are too vulnerable? Or is it just an isolated scandal blown out of proportion? And how should America balance voting access with election security? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video, because these conversations matter, and the more informed we all are, the stronger our democracy can be. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.